What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on First Take, they're going to be talking about Antonio Brown and how he was just traded from the Pittsburgh Steelers to the Oakland Raiders. So let's see what they have to say about this.
Stephen A., as a Steelers fan, how do you feel about this AB trade?
My apologies to ESPN. I'm not supposed to use this word. I'm pissed off, and I'm going to say it. I can't believe that the Steelers made this move, and I'm going to tell you why. Forget what they do, and I promise I won't use the P word again, but forget what the Steelers ultimately are going to do. This does not matter, Max. It does not matter, Louis Riddick. It does not matter what Kevin Goldberg and Mike Tomlin and Steelers organization, led by the Rooney family, does moving forward. If I started off this season, if I started off free agency and I said to you, arguably the number one receiver in football and the number one running back in football are going to end up being a third-round pick, a third-round compensatory pick, and a fifth-round pick, what would you say? Somebody would immediately be demanding that I be drug tested.
So this is what makes football and other sports so interesting when you have transactions and trades like what just happened. This is exactly why people love sports and football, because of things like this. So let's keep going.
The issue here, $21.1 million in dead cap space. We know that the Steelers have that to deal with. But with Juju Smith-Schuster and other receivers equating to about $24 million in the dead money, I get all of that. My point is, when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, to have a guy like Antonio Brown, particularly with rules that are very cumbersome, to say the least, on the part of players, that are very restrictive of players. When you see these rules that are in place that gives a team all the leverage in the world, you basically fell for the okie doke. Because right now, I'm here to tell you something right now, and this may be a different subject for a different point in the show, but we could literally make a legitimate argument right now. Antonio Brown hoodwinked all of us, and he's been lying through his teeth. There was never an issue with Big Ben. There was never an issue with Mike Tomlin. There was never an issue with Kevin Colbert and a comment about the 52 kids and all of this other stuff.
Well, no, I think what this points to is this is just how bad things were with AB and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because for them to get rid of the type of caliber of wide receiver that Antonio Brown is, he's arguably the best wide receiver in the game right now. I know there's Julio Jones, like I said before, and Odell Beckham Jr., but AB's been holding him down for years. So for them to get rid of him and to have a Hall of Fame quarterback that can get him to rock, that means there's something really bad that was going on. Either that, or we don't know what's going on behind closed doors, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have another agenda to do something or to set something else up. And that's what it has to be. That's what it has to be. So let's keep going on.
All I know, Big Ben was in on it. Yo, get your money. You can sit up there and rake me through the coals. We'll settle this after you get your money. I'm going to look out for you, bro, because you ain't got no...
So I can't really see Big Ben letting somebody throw him underneath the bus. His ego's too big, and he's had enough problems with his reputation outside the game, with the incident with the girl in the bathroom and all that. And I think, didn't he get in a motorcycle wreck or something that had him miss a couple games at the beginning of a season a couple years ago? But anyways, I can't picture him letting somebody throw him under the bus just so they can get money, just so they can look good. I just can't see it. I just don't see Big Ben letting him do that. But I could be wrong. So let's keep going.
Guaranteed money left. I know that's what you after. You're going to get $30 million in guaranteed dollars from the Oakland Raiders. That's a different subject. But in the end, what it comes down to is this. You are the Pittsburgh Steelers. It does not matter what you do moving forward, fellas. What matters to me is that arguably the best wide receiver in all of football, you lost when you had all the leverage. He's under contract for the next 2 years. You have all the leverage in the world, and you basically gave him away for what Martavis Bryant or A.J. McCarron was worth. I think that...
So, like I said, that just points to how bad things were with AB and the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's how bad things were, that they would let a guy like him go. And for crumbs. So, I don't know. Let's keep going.
That's ridiculous. I don't give a damn what anybody says. And ultimately, if I'm looking at the Steelers organization today, I'm like, what were you thinking? Really? Because they ain't better than they were yesterday.
Remember when I told you they weren't going to get a second and a fifth?
That's right.
They were only going to get a second. They didn't even get the second. They got a third and a fifth. This is what this is about. And it took until now for me to see it clearly with the Steelers, though I mentioned this with Le'Veon Bell. I said when Le'Veon Bell told Colbert, look, I'll come back, and you're fighting for the playoffs. I'll come back, but just guarantee me you won't use the franchise tag on me. And they said no. Once they said no to that, I'm like, hold on, time out. You want him enough that you're sitting down and talking to him. You want him enough that you want to use the franchise on him. But if you want him that bad, why wouldn't you just tell him you wouldn't use the franchise on him if the fact of the matter is he won't play if you do? It didn't add up. Aha! What's going on here is the Steelers are drawing a line in the sand. They're saying, to hell with this iteration of this team. We're talking about our franchise. We will not let players try to leverage extra money out of us. That's what happened with Antonio Brown. It happened.
Max, I don't think it's that elaborate. I don't think it goes that deep. I can't picture the Pittsburgh Steelers getting rid of arguably the best wide receiver in the game right now. Again, I know there's Julio Jones and I know there's Odell Beckham Jr., but I don't think it's that deep that they would get rid of Antonio Brown to have him be the example, to set the example off of him to other players around the league and to players on their team. I don't think they would use him as an example of, you're not going to tell us what to do. We are completely in charge. With a Hall of Fame caliber wide receiver like Antonio Brown, I just can't see that. And if that's what's happening, that's a bad move. That's a very bad move. And Le'Veon Bell was right. He stood his ground. But I just can't picture the Pittsburgh Steelers doing something like that. You don't make those type of moves with the type of player that Antonio Brown is. You don't make those type of moves. So let's keep going on.
Again, the Steelers drew a line in the sand. Look, this is all about Antonio Brown getting paid pretty obviously, right? And for those out there who would say, oh, you'd rather be on a last-place team for tens of extra of millions than on a first-place team? Yeah, what are people insane? Of course, what are these, children? Who wouldn't shoot? Like, all the NFL is a TV show. You know what the playoffs are? It's another TV show. Yeah, of course. You want to be on a TV show more than you want tens of millions of dollars for the love of the game? You know how many people play tackle football on the weekends for fun? Very few, because it's dangerous. You got to get paid for that, right? This is the man's profession, and his window to make the money is small, and there are tens of millions extra dollars on the line. Of course, Antonio Brown was trying to get paid. And the Steelers once again said, the most important thing is not our team right now. It's that we draw a line in the sand and send a message to these players. On the Pittsburgh Steelers, we are not going to allow you to leverage us. Even if it means, like, if you spend 10%, give or take, of your cap space on a wideout who's playing for your team, and Bill Barnwell made this point on ESPN.com, if that's a problem, it's hard to win. But you're going to spend 10% of your cap on a guy who's playing for another team? Only 50-some-odd dudes on a roster. That means 10%. You're spending 5 times what you should spend on that player, right? And you're going to pay him to play for another team? Why would you do that?
Also, it's another team that's in your division. So in a couple years, if the Raiders get their act together, they might be some trouble for Pittsburgh. I know Ben's getting older, and he might be on his way out. He was talking about retiring a couple times. But if the Oakland Raiders get their stuff together, I think they have a couple first-round picks mixed with AB. And if Derek Carr can get back to playing to what he was a few years ago, the Raiders might bring some trouble to the AFC. I know they're playing a strong AFC West right now with Kansas City making it to the AFC Championship game with Mahomes and everything went along with that, and the San Diego Chargers going relatively deep in the playoffs. The AFC West is strong, and if, like I said, if the Raiders start getting it going, they could bring some trouble down the road for Pittsburgh. Definitely. And especially, I don't hate to talk about hypotheticals, and I know I said this in other videos, but if they hadn't got rid of Mac, and if they hadn't gotten rid of Cooper, mixed with AB, they'd have a heck of a great start. And especially if Derek Carr could get it together, mixed with a great coach like Chucky, the Raiders are going to be a sleeper team. They're going to be a sleeper team very soon. So let's see what more they have to say.
You behave the way you did with Le'Veon Bell, only to draw the line in the sand as a message to the players. To hell with our team right now. Our franchise is what's important. We won't let this fly on the Steelers. Steelers fans should be aware that's what your team just did to you. You're not going to be very good, and it's because of that.
So he's saying, so basically the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't worried about the team now, but they're worried about the team in the future. But you want to keep a player like AB because they have some trouble with each other, but that could be evened out. If everybody gets their egos in check, Big Ben, Mike Tomlin, AB, and everybody else, they get their egos in check. They were what I think it was like 9-6 or what 9-5 or whatever. I can't remember their record last year. So that's bad, but it's not that bad that the next year they can't recover and come back and have a pretty good year, get in the playoffs, and have everything good to go. Versus get rid of AB and trying to set the example to him and everybody else that we're not going to stand for any players trying to take control of their destiny. I just don't see that happening. I know the coaching staff, the scouting, and all that they can plan better than that. They can definitely plan better than that. So let's keep going.
Yeah, they're definitely saying this. This is our way of doing business. And we're going to definitely believe in and buy into the fact that we think we're going to be a better team in some way, shape, or form. Because, look, you can't no front office is just going to throw away seasons. No front office is just going to say, hey, look, you know what? We're just not going to be much better here because we're going to get rid of one of our best players, and we just don't care about it. Look, they definitely believe that this is addition by subtraction. And even though you can't pull out a spreadsheet and talk about and look at and tangibly see the benefits of what you can gain when you improve your culture, or rather when you think you're improving your culture and you think you're improving the chemistry of your locker room and you think you're getting rid of a distraction.
I can see if Antonio Brown didn't have the type of numbers that he has, if he were just a kind of above average player. But Antonio Brown, he's a stellar wide receiver. So I can't see them doing something like that. Get rid of him just for the future. I just can't see that happening. It's not smart because it's really about what are you doing now in football. It's what are you doing now. So I don't know. Let's keep going.
The fact of the matter is, it is a real thing that happens in the NFL, and obviously the Steelers believe it's going to be real and have real positive benefits for them. Otherwise, I believe in everything that you guys are saying. There is no other sense to make of why you would do this kind of thing when you did have all the chips on your side of the table, when you could just sit and stand pat and say, look, you're going to play for us.